Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, just a quick thing to start with. So GitLab Contribute is an unconference event that's happening in New Orleans in May. As part of that, there is a space on the Saturday for a self-organized team dinner, it's described as. Now, engineering and product are a bit unusual there because the teams, obviously, like there's people from multiple teams in this call, right? Like Victor's got one manager, I've got a different manager, Donald's got the same manager as me, but you know what I mean. Valmir's got a different manager. I don't know exactly how that shakes out, like, you know, because it's called a team dinner. Some people are treating it as a stage group dinner. I've just copied what Dylan's doing in Configure and said, well, I'm going to invite everybody from the backend, sort one out for the backend team, but anybody else in the stage group can also join that one. Like it's like the minimum is going to be the backend team, but it's open to everybody from the plan stage group who's attending Contribute. So if you, thumbs up that issue if you're joining. That's all I really need right now to get an idea of the numbers. And then once I have that, I'll start looking at options for where to eat. Obviously, if anybody's got a strong opinion on where to eat, feel free to just add it to that issue already.
Yep. When trying to access this issue, I get a 404.
Oh, let me see about giving you access to that project. Thank you for bringing that up, Valmir. So your username is WSF82, yeah?
Exactly, yes.
Okay, you should have access now.
Thank you. Yeah, just got the email.
Cool. Thanks for bringing it up. Yeah, that was not intentional.
Sean, is there a deadline that you have, or that's sort of in?
So I set a deadline of March the 28th, just because I kind of want to book somewhere probably around a month in advance, just so it's done, and then I don't have to think about it. But
that makes sense.
Do you know if there are going to be more than one of these dinners? Because I would love to participate in the one with the plan team, but also with the one for the quality department.
So in the schedule for the event, this is the time for a specific off-site self-organized dinner. That is sort of in these smaller groups. There is dinner at the hotel, and there's also an off-site dinner during the rest of Contribute. And I don't think it's a problem to just go out and do something different on those ones as well. I'm just organizing the one that's sort of highlighted on the slides that I've linked to in the issue, which is on the Saturday. Because I have to organize that for my team anyway, so I figure, like, you know, we can pool our efforts and do as many people as possible. But like I said, from what I understand, Alexis, I see you joined, so maybe you know, the UX team, I think, are doing a breakfast together instead, and then joining the stage groups for dinner. But I don't know what quality is doing. Or
yeah, I'll figure it out with the quality team. That's a good idea to bring to them if they haven't thought about it.
Yeah, I might be wrong about what UX is doing as well, Alexis. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, it's an idea still.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. I'm not really sure either.
Okay, fine. We don't need to figure it out now anyway. This is just like an informational thing. We'll mostly use the issue to track it as we do with things at GitLab in general. That's all I had for that one. So next up is...
I moved my items to the end, Sean, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, my second item was just we changed the way we did the retro with a discussion per person. Please vote on which way you want to do it next time. And the next retro issue is already open because we decided to open them a bit earlier, but not ping people. So basically, if you just got something you want to throw in there, don't feel like you have to wait for that vote to be finished before you do that. Like we can always figure that out later. But the idea behind opening the new issue earlier was just that you might have something that you forget about, but if it's already there, you can just put it in and then you won't forget about it. Kushal, epic relationships within Epic.
Yep. So this was something that we realized while discussing with how to go about handling drag and drop with TreeView. So I left my concern in the original issue, mentioning both Victor and Annabelle, like whether we should be allowing to do full drag and drop across the entire tree view. Like if user wants to drag an item from tree view to anywhere within the tree view, should it be changing parent and child relationships between the epics, or should we not do it? Based on what I have received in response from Annabelle, it mentions like we shouldn't be doing a tree view for this situation. Instead, we will be having only 2 tabs, one for discussion and one for roadmap embedding. So what we'll do is that we'll leave both issues and related epics list as it is. But just wanted to clarify if I understood the response correctly. So Victor, what do you suggest on that one?
That sounds good to me. Let's see if is Annabelle on. Doesn't look like it. I mean, that sounds like a good approach to do the next thing, right? And then after this, if there's other urgent front end issues or just other planned tasks to work on, work on those ones first. And then if you have time, just, work on the tree view itself. So I think a good approach is separating into tabs that's smaller. Sounds like it's a simpler iteration. So I'm definitely up for that.
Yep.
With that, we're just separating the tree, the epics and the discussion separately. And are the issues also going to that tab as well?
No. So the original design that was proposed was to have 3 tabs. So initially, when you load up any epic, we would be seeing title and description. Right. And below that, we'll be having 3 tabs, one for discussion, where we would have comments and system notes. Second tab would be to show related items, which would be the tree view with issues and epics all combined together. And the third tab was to show the roadmap for that specific epic. Yep. So that was basically the idea. Yeah. So as you can see in the tree, we are seeing both issues and epics separated by the drop down. So if you want to see just issues, we would select relevant item from that drop down and it would show the items. And the third tab was to show roadmap for that specific epic. So for instance, if an epic has multiple child epics assigned to it, then all those child epics would have in turn start and finish dates defined. So in that case, we would have a small version of roadmap with similar experience that we have for the entire full page roadmap, just that we would be showing child epics for that specific epic with the timeline rendered accordingly. So for this iteration, what is suggested here is that we would be showing only 2 tabs, discussion and roadmap, while leaving rest of the page as it is. So the list of related issues and epics would show up before the entire tabbed UI. So those items will be appearing right below the description, and 2 tabs will be having only for discussion and roadmap.
Okay, so so I got confused. You want to add the roadmap first instead of the tree view, the
Yes. So because adding roadmap is still straightforward. The roadmap app that we have right now doesn't need to be the same one as the one we are seeing for the full page. Like basically, you can provide the base path for which you need to pull epics for. And it will pull in the data for those many epics and show up here. It might need some backend help because right now, if we want to fetch epics only for one specific epic, so for example, we have epic A and we have child epics like A1, A2, A3, A5 up to A5, then those 5 epics cannot be fetched directly. Right now, there is only one API which gives you epics from a specific group instead of a specific epic. So only backend help that would be needed was to provide an API that would pull in related child epics from a given epic. And then we would just add that data to the store and roadmap will be rendered.
Okay, so for this one, it would show the roadmap bar for yourself plus your immediate children or all descendants?
I think only children, not the self itself. So for example, we have this main epic. Yeah, so basically we need to fetch in data only for child epic for a given epic. That's why we need API help for this one.
Okay, so only show the child, your immediate children, not the descendants.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so that would be consistent with what we have right now, because we don't have all descendants. We only have immediate children in
Yes.
this area, and then we're showing a visual for those, and that would be consistent there. Okay, no, that sounds like a good iteration. Whether we put like ourselves and like the further descendants, I think that can be a separate, like whether we do that or not, that can be a separate iteration. But I like how it's consistent. So thanks for clarifying that, Kushal. I thought we were doing the tree. I didn't know you wanted to do the roadmap. But that sounds great. So then with the tree, then we can still get the tree view. It won't be a separate tab, or we won't even have a tree view. It'll just be children view as we have right now, and we're adding new functionality, which is always good. Okay, yeah, no, that sounds good with me. Do you mind updating the comment? And I can help update the description. Let's do that together. But if you don't mind updating the comment and saying we.
Yeah, so I'll leave the response based on what we just discussed, and then you can go ahead and update the description.
Yeah.
And as far as the tree view is concerned, so although we'll have to discuss it separately with Hannibal, like how to go about drag and drop, because right now we have flat list with nodes where nodes do not expand and child items do not show up within a particular parent item. But if you want that entire tree to be drag and droppable, where you can reorder epics however you want, then there needs to be like a checklist of cases where we basically determine how to go about reordering. Because, for example, if we have one parent tree expanded with all the child epics showing up underneath it, and then if we want to reorder one of the child epics, then how that epic should be reordered first. So, for example, user can basically drag it anywhere throughout the list and would try to drop somewhere within the list. And if that child epic goes altogether into a different parent, then that would mean a lot of things happening in the background, because we would need not only to change the order of that epic within that list, but the parent-child relationship will also be changing. It would directly go from one parent to the other parent. So whether we want to go with that route or not, or if we do not support reorder at all, because those are many small cases for which we need to discuss, both from the UX perspective as well as from the feature perspective.
Yeah, once you have a tree, it's a lot more complicated. So
yes.
That makes sense, deferring it, especially since Annabelle is not here. I mean, on this particular day and probably week. Okay, that sounds great. Anything else before we jump to Walmart? I copy and pasted one of your points, Walmart, because it's we might as well talk about this first, number 4. Do you wanna talk? Explain your question. So I copied the last agenda and put it up here.
Yep. So I would like to. Oh yeah. So yeah, I asked this because, well, since I'm new, I'm not really aware of everything that's going on. But my question regarding asking if a big issue can turn into an epic, it's because I imagine that at some point issues may be created and they may be, you think they are small, they can be worked in a small piece. That is at some point then you realize they are bigger, and then I am just wondering if they could turn into an epic, a child epic of something bigger that this issue was already child of.
Great question. So thank you for asking that. So I'm going to link to this. Oops, why is that working? I'm going to link to our direction page, and in the overview section, why can't I? Okay. Oops. Overview. We have something called. Okay, that's not very helpful. There's an enterprise in the enterprise planning group, like in the 3rd paragraph down. I've written something. Okay, sorry, totally made the Google Doc ugly. But anyways, you can read that on your own or read that page on your own. But what I'll verbalize right now is that with planning, we can do top-down planning and bottoms-up planning. So top-down planning, or my definition of top-down planning is when whether you're a executive at a company and planning big initiatives, whether you're using GitLab for your personal projects, when you say top-down planning, the idea is you don't have the details yet, right? That's why it's top-down, and you have a general concept.
You go from the epics to the issues.
Exactly, and you work your way down. And so we have work breakdown structure of epics, and we'll have work breakdown structure of issues in the future. So you can issue issues. So that's what the usage of one of the use cases that our current epics support. I don't know if this was your question, Walmart, but I'll just offer some context. I don't think we're using that very well within GitLab in particular, but I have seen customers use it. So, but for example, at GitLab, what we do often is anybody that has an idea, even though it's a big idea, they'll create an issue. I think that's GitLab culture because we've always done that, and also the features are also better for issues because it's more full-fledged. So by definition, that's a better experience if you want to get the other capabilities of linking and all the sidebar attributes and so on and so forth, issue boards. And then the other respect is bottoms-up planning, which we do very well at GitLab, and which is a feature very much supported by GitLab, which is you just create the issues. And then to what you said about an issue getting big, we have a feature called promoting an issue to an epic via the quick action. So that would adjust that specific use case.
That answered my question.
Yeah. So thanks for asking that, because that's, it might not be clear to anybody on this call, right?
For sure.
So thanks you for asking.
Thanks for the context.
Yeah. And so go ahead with your other 2 points you wanted to check out.
Yeah, let me find it out. So yeah, the next one is about what I'm thinking on starting as a contribution for the plan team. So I was looking to the kickoff document and to the issues that are for the next release. And I thought that this one that I pointed here, which is create child epic from epic, seems to be the simplest one. So I was just thinking on starting with this one since it's the simplest one. And I had a one-on-one with Ramya yesterday, and she will help me reviewing my first two test plans. So I just wanted to let you know and align if is that fine.
Obviously, these types of decisions are fine for me. But when I hear that, Walmart, that makes total sense because that seems a very well-defined functionality, unlike the one that Kushal is working on, which is very complicated and difficult. But creating an epic from within an epic, I think it's not very controversial. About even the visual interaction design, I don't think it's that controversial. So I think that's a great one to start to test out the process and for you to figure out what that is and contribute on ideas.
Yeah, by the way, one thing that I have aligned with Ramya, actually it was her suggestion. So since I will be split working for plan, but also for the quality department, she suggested that I could work like 3 days working in the task framework, helping the quality department in general, and 2 days like creating the task plans for the plan. Is that okay as well? At least for the beginning.
Yeah, I don't know. Is that a question for Sean or Donald or I don't think I have never heard of this type of rigor brought up. So.
I imagine that at least to get used to working with the two different teams, I think it may make sense. So I just wanted to share.
Yeah, I mean, equally, not my decision. If it works for you and it works for Ramya, that's good enough for me.
Yeah. I was going to say the same thing too. It's kind of up to you all on how you best work. I would say that's best because context switching is not going to be as if you're working like 2 hours one day and on plan and then 2 hours on quality. For me, that would be a little bit tougher. So if that's okay with you, thumbs up.
Yeah, and I think as soon as I get more used to the work, I will be able to find out the right balance to do this both things.
Walmart, And I'll qualify that really quickly, Walmart. Don't take our disinterest as our disinterest as negativity. Our disinterest is more like we're trusting you and the process to make the best decision. And so like, thank you for
for sure. I just want to
don't ask for permission. Just tell us you're doing that.
No, I'm not asking for permission. I'm just trying to be transparent, and I'm getting used to like the way we work.
Yeah, thank you.
So, and the last is more like a question. So I noticed in the kickoff document that there are two issues that they mention design. So I just want to confirm if they are for now just design related and not development related yet, and they will be development related in the future, or are they already development related as well? I'm talking about issue list raw design and related merge request issue design.
Good question. So I'm going to link to the kickoff doc so everybody can read it. So doing that right now. So in the past, we've struggled a little bit to have issues that were design deliverables. I didn't like that. I don't think that worked very well because we have things like we would mark an issue as we still have something called like product discovery or something, and then maybe we had like design deliverable, like maybe for all of 2 weeks. I forget specifically what the labels were called, but at least in the plan team, what I've observed is we moved away from it. I think that's very successful. We have a label called UX Ready, which is something that a designer would often use to indicate that the discussion of the design is mature to a stage that, you know, it's an indicator of such, but it's not, again, it's not permission. Like you should be empowered to work on things. And then you should always, and an engineer should not use it as an excuse not to work on something because it doesn't have UX ready yet. But so to me, it's an indicator. It tells that, oh, the design has moved to a certain stage that you can be confident on. So maybe if the designer is not responding because they're sleeping, you know, please go ahead with whatever is in the description. Or if the description is not up to date and then there's a UX ready label on it, so then you should ask the designer why that is the case. And then so in general, when we put an issue and it's like 99% of the time, the issue should be the deliverable of the issue is merging a merge request to ship code. That's when you should close the issue. And so the issue, that might mean that the issue may stay in multiple milestones, and that's okay, at least in my opinion. Like it might be hard to track and stuff like that, but especially for bigger issues like the one that Kushal is working on, what we're gonna do after this call is I will probably copy and paste some of the designs into a new issue because Kushal was working on it, worked with the designer, pinged me, and we found out that something was different. So in the past, what we would have done is, then we finished the design and then we copy and paste it into other issues and we close that issues. And turns out that in theory, that sounds like makes sense, but in practice, it's actually very confusing because everything is so fluid at GitLab and everything is not waterfall at all. So it turns out if you try to put a process onto our issues and say like, design is done, then we do this, then we do this, things actually get more confusing. And if you have everything actually in fewer number of issues and you have this conversation together in that issue, things work very well. So my last point is that the word design shouldn't maybe not just be there. I mean, I can't think of a better way to name the issue, but I maybe redesign is better because we're redesigning or adding more elements, but
so with all that, it means that there may be development related in these issues as well.
Yes, not all. Well,
all of them.
Not maybe. That is the default. Like that's 99%.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah. But yeah, great question. Thank you. Especially since we don't have designers on call, we have Alexis who's new and Annabelle and Pedro are not here to explain. So thank you for asking that question. Yes. Oh, sorry, Sean, I didn't know that was in the handbook. So thanks for updating the link.
Yeah, it's on the plan backend team page, which we kind of have to move anyway because I think we're just going to move to having pages per stage group. But yeah, I'm just going to update that now. it's fine. Thanks for just for the benefit of the video. What we were talking about there was I had a link to an old planned YouTube playlist that Victor puts together of all these meetings that we have. And there's a new one because it's on a different YouTube channel or account or something. I don't really know how YouTube works. But yeah, that's why. So yeah, I'll update the handbook to point to the correct playlist. Thank you.
Definitely.
I'm wondering if it's worth putting a video there on that account, redirecting people to the new one, because people might be exploring, because there's like 7,000 subscribers to that account. I'm not sure.
We can put a video. Like, I don't think I can update I don't think there's like a playlist description.
YouTube supports posts. I've seen posts in some accounts, but I don't know exactly how that works. We can probably investigate that off call. But
no, I can add a description. I'll do that right away. The playlist support descriptions. So cool. That's something it'll take me 2 seconds to do if I can find the list. No, I'll do that right now as we talk about the next topic. Oh, but then that's me talking. Okay, so we're waiting on an analyst to get back to us because we submitted something for EAPT, I believe. So if you click on that link, it goes to the Slack channel, and I think technically I'm not supposed to talk about it publicly, so that's why I'm just saying an analyst, even though there's not a lot of analysts out there. We're sort of antsy waiting for that because we worked on that late last year, and it's going to be pretty significant, I think, if we do well there, especially in light of recent announcements. There was the acquisition by Atlassian of AgileCraft, which is squarely a portfolio management tool, very much more so than a project management tool, right? So if you look in our various Slack channels and even our group conversation, obviously we talked about that yesterday. And then something that wasn't really, I didn't see really within the GitLab halls talked about, Trello made some big announcements yesterday too about some of their new features and really focusing on the enterprise. So that's really interesting to me because Trello has always been branded as a, like, not just, or not maybe not just, but not enterprise at all. It's like, if you use it for enterprise, it's sort of a by mistake or coincidence. That, at least the way I've seen Trello branded, it's really, you for your home renovation project or almost, or it's a very generic tool for customers. And then obviously that approach and design ethos really won a lot of, hearts of people who love, or another way to put it, like enterprise design quality of enterprise tools has only been improving in the past 10, 20 years, right? Like before, like enterprise tools suck and you're just forced to use it, and that's not the case anymore. So like, to me, Trello is sort of making that bridge. And so with Atlassian buying Trello and turning it now into enterprise tool, and then with acquiring AgileCraft, there's a lot of consolidation and a lot of movement in this industry. So I'm really excited about that. And so this, waiting for this will allow us to make a big splash in the conversation as well. And that's all I have to say about that. So folks, feel free to participate there.
I think it makes a lot of sense for this kind of products to start with smaller business and medium business, and when they get mature enough to grow to the enterprise. In the previous startup company that I worked at, Appear.in, their goal so far is to achieve like small customer and medium business, but in the future they have the vision to go to the enterprise, and I think Trello is already mature enough to do so.
Well, I mean,
so I think we can benefit a lot from.
To me, it took them 2 years after being acquired. That's too slow in GitLab timescales.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
but it's interesting. It's like on the same day this happened, literally. But like, not a lot of people were talking about the Trello. I mean, the Trello piece. It's not like they release features and say they're doing enterprise, and I think they changed some of their plans to be more enterprise friendly or something like that. But anyways. Yeah, so feel free to continue to have conversations there. I mean, like, this seems very unrelated to product development, but it is, because this will drive a lot of the things we do and the features that we do, especially as we work on the portfolio management, which is in the ultimate tier right now, at least. Lots of questions in group conversation yesterday, which is great. I don't like that I talked, because I thought we made a huge improvement last time by having everybody talk. So I just wanted to get a sense of what everybody thinks about that. And my meta comment is that we can all participate in other ways outside of that group conversation, and we can record videos, we can have separate conversations. So are people disappointed that they didn't get to engage in, with the whole company in the capacity of talking? Or everybody's like, that's fine, Victor does it, I don't like that anyway. So I wanted to get
I'm going to answer purely for myself, and I realize that like I talk a lot anyway. Like I had plenty of opportunity to talk in that call if I wanted to. Like for me personally, the way I see the group conversations working as it stands now, because we don't present the slides, is that most of the questions are sort of naturally
product manager,
fairly sort of high level or strategic questions, which are going to be more focused on the product management side of things. There will be questions that require more detail, which are more likely to sort of speak to people within the teams working on that part of the product, whether they'll have like, the exact details to hand or whatever, or, we might be asking for opinions, like Yaka, I think, yesterday got called on to answer something, for instance, that sort of thing. But I think it's sort of a natural tendency of that. So I don't really know what we could do differently, because a lot of the questions were just like, for me personally, I was like, I guess Victor has to answer that.
Yeah, no. Structurally, that by definition, that is the case. And and I'm okay with that. I think that's a good use of time more broadly as a group conversation. The purpose of a group conversation and the purpose of informing the company, and that this being a good venue for that. So the downsides I see are at least twofold. One is there an opportunity for the plan team to share more details, technical things, design process? And so I don't see that as a huge downside, because maybe there are other venues to do that. Maybe there should be I think there are group conversations that are focused on design and engineering anyways. I might be wrong. But
so there's a group conversation that Eric, sorry, let me get this right. I think at the moment, Eric does a group conversation for the whole of engineering, but also each of the directors that report to Christopher in the development departments also have their own sub-department, also have their own group conversation. So for instance, Tim Zollman had one where he went into more details about GraphQL, for instance, the other week. Dalia will have one for sort of the ops stuff. And as we get more directors, we will have more of those, but those are the two right now. But yeah, I mean, I think the actual slides themselves were, I don't know, like, it depends on how, like you said at the start, how highly you value the conversation part that happens in the group conversation, as opposed to the slides, which, because we don't present those, it feels, it can feel like those don't exist, but obviously like people are reading those before. And, there was sort of a lot of mentions of specific things that specific people had done in those slides.
Exactly. Yep.
With links where people could find out more. Jan or Mario, as I can see you both there, like, do you have any opinions there?
No, I think we start with Victor and you as the general people that know everything going on in the team, and then you can pull out of people that know what's going on more in detail. I think it works pretty well.
Yeah, my only concern is if people care about, like, I don't mind doing this.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if you were speaking, but I don't think your mic was working.
Hello? You can't hear me?
I could hear.
No, Jan was speaking, I think.
Can you hear me now?
Oh,
yeah. Like, you couldn't hear him, so that's why you didn't know he was speaking.
Cool. Yeah, sorry. Please, Victor, finish your thought, and I will.
Go ahead, Jan. Go ahead. I obviously talk too much.
Okay. So, yeah, I agree with Mario. if the question is about the format of group conversation, yeah, I think that naturally most of the questions are being answered by Victor, and I don't have a problem with it. It's probably a good idea if you call out someone specific about the details, but as I said, typically it would be about details, and these are not usually questioned during the call. So, yeah. Nope. I don't have any specific improvement suggestion.
No, yeah. So it doesn't sound like a problem, so we don't have to solve it. And I just wanted to be very cognizant, because if you came to GitLab thinking that this is a great opportunity and you love the previous format and you love that you have an opportunity to speak about your awesome work, I personally want to be biased, and I want to be selfish for the team and saying, let's take advantage of this opportunity. But if it's literally like something you don't care about, in whether it's, you know, your personal capacity, something that you're going to contribute to, something that you find fun and rewarding, if you literally don't care about that, then this is a non-problem. So I am happy to spend the 30 minutes blabbering away. Sean obviously was helping a lot as well. So yeah, so that's all I have to say about that. Anything else?
I think I'll contribute
Please,
more to that, Victor, once I know what I'm talking about. Just, you know, maybe next time.
Well, yeah. No, when's, do you know, Sean? Is it every 6 weeks or 4 weeks, or is it like 8 weeks now?
8.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I think it's 8. At least according to the handbook, it's every 8.
Oh, it's every. Okay.
Yeah. I think it's 8.
Hopefully next time I'll be good.
Okay.
So
I kind of wish there was a way. Like I kind of wish we could get the questions a little bit earlier, so we can start thinking through, like, or some people can start thinking through their answers before the
what I've done sometimes for other group conversations is just like add a question, like any question, as like the first one. So first of all, you don't get that sort of awkward moment at the start where there's sort of that big gap while you're waiting, because I assume most people sort of basically read the slides pretty much at the start of the call. But secondly, like it means that nobody else has to be the person who puts the first question there. So we could always just seed it with our own first question.
Right.
And that gives us time to think of a great response to that. You know, why, thank you for asking, Victor. Like that's a really great question. But also, you know, lets other people have a bit more time to think of their questions, and makes it less, I don't think it's super intimidating to add a question there, but I think it's less intimidating if there's already a question there.
Right, and I like that, Sean. We're essentially cheating when we're doing that, but in a good spirit, right? We're just presenting something. We're seeing a question. It's equivalent to that, but but like the format matters, and I think think to cheat less there, I would build out maybe Donald's. I don't know if that was your suggestion, or my suggestion would be, like, if you just have general question, like literally, 48 hours of 24. I tried to do that like 30 minutes ahead, but it failed spectacularly. I started advertising this group conversation like 30 minutes prior, and then just slacking it everywhere and just hoping people will add questions. But if we did that actually carefully, we could collect questions in general, or we could ask people specifically to go to the doc and add questions prior. And then, we could prepare better for that. And then specifically, again, if somebody really wanted to talk about their work, we could bias toward that time as well. So I think that's pretty good improvements there.
Yeah, I mean, just to Brett's point in chat there, I think, and I don't think it's just him, I think there are a few people that really don't like being put on the spot on video like that. So if we are able to give a couple minutes, or at least a little bit of time to prepare for the answers, we may be able to get more engagement.
Yeah, those are good points. I mean, we can always, if somebody wants to answer questions during during the group conversation, we can, have a list of who wants to talk, who would rather not. That's an easy way to not call somebody out that wouldn't like to, unless we really need that person to answer.
Or just don't join the call, just watch on YouTube.
That helps.
But yeah, no,
just enter a different name when you join the webinar. Like,
right.
Instead of putting your own name, put someone else's name in.
There you go.
We're gonna join as Sean tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why is Sean not responding?
Thanks for bringing this up, Donna. I missed the first half of your point, but I think you mentioned Brett, and I semi-called out Brett on one of our AMAs. Brett, I don't know if you remember, not called you out, but like, I think Sid said something about like, we should do more YouTube videos. And then I said something like, but what if people didn't want to do YouTube videos? And what I was trying to get out of Sid so that he could tell to the whole company. And so to sort of reinforce the idea, like we all contribute in different ways. And I think that's great, right? So like when I pushed Brett and Fatih to do the video, they said, no, I want to do a blog post. I'm like, that's awesome. So just as different people consume content in different ways, you should be, free to present content in different ways. I think this applies to the group conversation. And then we have the slides, or in the future it'll be a blog post. Hopefully, I think that's better. There's definitely a lot to contribute there. And frankly, like a video is actually not a very efficient way to contribute. So if anything, Brett doing a blog post is actually more efficient in some terms. So, yeah.
Oh, hey, speaking of blog posts, my blog post about what we're doing on Elasticsearch for GitLab.com is going live today.
Thank you. That sounds exciting. Be sure to blast it everywhere.
I mean, it's a little negative because it's what has gone wrong so far, but still interesting.
Thanks. All right, so
I'm curious.
Go ahead, Walmart.
I just said that I'm curious about what's going wrong so far.
All right, so go ahead.
I said as soon as the post is live, I'll post it in the team.
Yeah, sure.
Chat.
We'll take a look.
Okay, so let's carry on any conversations async or bring them to the next video call or whatever, or set a meeting. Thank you, everybody. This will be on YouTube shortly. Bye, everyone.